feel free this morning? Up from the grave you rose again. Up from the grave you rose, and we will rise up, rise up into the world that you so love. Into the world we go, and we will rise up, rise up from the grave.
Up from the grave you rose again. Up from the grave you rose, and we will
Rise up, rise up into the world that you so love. Into the world we go, and we will rise up, rise up. We are the freedom generation, singing of mercy. You are the one who set us all in motion. Yours is the glory. It's fire in our hearts and it burns for you. It's never gonna fade away. We are the free. Yours is the glory. Oh, 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 Yours is the glory. We say yes to you, God. Hey, we say yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord, amen, yes, yes. We say yes, Lord, yes, Lord.
yes, yes, Lord.
We say yes.
Lord, yes, Lord.
Let it go.
Yes, Lord.
We say yes, Lord.
Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Amen.
I'm trading my sorrows.
I'm trading my
I'm laying them down for the joy of the Lord. I'm trading my sickness. I'm trading my pain. I'm laying them down for the joy of the Lord. We say yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord,
yes, yes, Lord.
yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord, amen. Hey, yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord.
Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Amen.
I'm pressed.
I am pressed but not crushed, persecuted, not abandoned, struck down but not destroyed. I am blessed beyond the curse. His promise will endure, and His joy is gonna be my strength.
Though the sorrow may last for a night, His joy comes in the morning.
I'm trading
My deeper than the ocean, and I need a voice bigger than the sky. Sing, I need a song. I need a song that's worthy of your nail scars, Jesus, to sing of the love. It took a chance on me, oh Yahweh. Oh, Yahweh, the God who fights for me, my hallelujah, my soul's reprieve, long before my heart believed. Oh, how far you would go. I thought God was further than horizons, and I thought grace was just beyond my reach, but you said, you saved my life, was worthy of your nail scars. So I sing like it was, 'cause you took a chance on me. Sing like your life was worthy. Oh, hallelujah,
my soul
reprieve, long before my heart believed. Oh, how far you who's closer than a brother. I know a grace far beyond belief, far beyond belief. I know I'm healed by the power of your nail scars. Yeah. 'Cause yours is a love that took a chance on me when I was at my lowest. You still were on your throne, yeah. When I was still a long way off, you ran to bring me home. You ran to bring me home. When I was at my lowest, yeah. You still were on your throne. You never changed, you never changed. When I was still a long way off, you ran to bring me home. When I was at my lowest, when I was at my lowest, you still were on your throne. Yeah. When I was still a long way off, you ran to bring me home. When I was at my lowest, when I was at my lowest, you still were on your throne, yeah. When I was still a long way off, you ran to bring me home. You stepped into my Egypt and you took me by the hand. You marched me out of freedom into the promised land. Now I will not forget you, Lord. I'll sing of all you've done. Death is swallowed up forever by the fury of your love. Oh, Yahweh, the God who fights for me. My hallelujah,
My soul's free.
long before my heart. Oh, how far you would go for me. You unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies till all my fears are gone. I'm no longer a slave.
chosen me. Love has called my name. I've been born again into your family. Love has through my veins. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of
You split the sea. You split the sea so I can walk right through it. My fears are drowned in perfect love. You rescued me and I will stand and say, I am a child of God. You split the sea. You split the sea and I can walk right through it. My fears are drowned in perfect love. You rescued me and I will stand and say,
I am a child of God.
so no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. We're going to sing one last song. And in this last song, just make it your own. Take this last chance to tell and declare that God is your way maker, that He's your everything. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. 'Cause you are
Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are.
'cause you are
Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are.
You are here, touching every heart.
I worship you. I worship you.
are here, turning lives around. Yeah, I worship you. I worship you. You are here, bending every heart. I worship you. Yeah, I worship you. Yeah, you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. 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 That is who you are.
That is who you are.
Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working.
Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop.
He never stops.
Working. Never stop. Never stop working.
Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop. Yes, you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. 'Cause you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are.
Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is
Who you are, yeah, 'cause you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper. Why don't you stand where you are? Let's all stand together
my God.
and declare that He's our waymaker, He's our miracle worker. Stand. Hey, waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Let's declare it this morning. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Just the voices, 'cause you are
Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness.
My God, that is who you are. 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 Yeah. God, come. Fill this room with your presence, God. Just wait on Him. Holy Spirit, come. Yeah. Just be ready. Just be expectant for God to move. Just one last time at this conference, get ready for God to do something big. You are a way maker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. You are a way maker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. God, prepare our hearts for your word. This morning we position and posture, put our hearts in a posture ready to receive from you. Directly from you, God. No matter who's up here saying whatever, God, we accept directly from you. We receive directly from you, God. In Jesus' name. And all God's people said, Amen.
Yeah, last session. Whew. We made it. You know, I always know the last session is gonna be a struggle for all of us because of the deprivation of sleep that we probably all had. This morning I wanted a little bit longer in the secret place of my bed. Right? I just wanted a little bit longer to just be in that secret place and not to have to come out or go to breakfast or anything. But it's good. It's good, and I believe the word that God has for us this morning is a word that should take us into our weeks, into our everyday lives, and I believe it's something that God wants to speak over all of us and remind us of, especially in this crucial time as we approach His return. So if you guys have your Bibles, I would love you to turn to again to Psalm 91. We're going to finish this last little bit. You know, last night was an amazing night. You know, I had a really, just even from the beginning, just felt like the presence of the Lord was here. You know, just felt like, just even everything happening throughout worship, there was just something going on. And I don't know if Chris has said much about this, but I don't even know if you guys like talk about this stuff kind of. But anyways, so my wife was in the corner. She was just praying, and she said, "Hey, Uel, I think I've got like gold dust on my hands." Right? I think I've like got gold dust on my hands, and I was looking, I was like, oh yeah, it's a little bit shiny, right? It could be sweat, but maybe it's gold dust, right? So we're looking at it, and we're like, oh, gold dust. And then from the stage, Chris started speaking about gold dust, right? He just started saying stuff about Shekinah glory, your presence come, gold dust, just like chucking out. I was like, what? You just said gold dust on stage, and there's like gold dust over here. Anyways, what I'm saying is that there are moments in our life where God turns up in a way that, the heavens open and we have a little glimpse of what heaven is like on earth. And I believe last night was a little taste of that. But it's not limited to camps. It's not limited to a place where there's good music and smoke machines and nice lights that have been built by the amazing team at the back, right? It's not about that. It is about that connection that you have with God, that real connection that you have in that secret place. And I believe all of us can get there, even in our rooms, even in our train rides to work or to uni. All these times that we have with the Lord can be a time where He opens the heavens above us and reveals something to us that He really wants to show us. And so I want to just read from Psalm 91, the last little bit that we have here. And it's from verse 7 to 10. And in verse 7 to 10 it says, 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. You will only look with your eyes and see the recompense of the wicked. Because you have made the Lord your dwelling place, the Most High, who is my refuge, no evil shall be allowed to befall you, no plague come near your tent. The last part of this little pyramid structure that I believe we're talking about, that we see here in Psalm 91, that is talking about, we've already talked about, the foundation being relationship. The next part being an ability to be protected in our walk and also from the attacks of the enemy. But I believe this last part really has to do And follow me here, because sometimes it's a little bit hard to see this one, and maybe I'm stretching it a little bit, but just follow me here with this train of thought, right? I believe this last one has to do with a release of revelation, right? In that secret place, the Lord releases revelation to us. He releases revelation to us. He reveals His plan. He reveals what He's going to do, right? We see these verses here, these 4 verses, and I'm guessing that the psalmist was inspired by what happened in the land of Egypt as the Israelites were leaving the land of Egypt. Right? It talks about 1,000 falling at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, and then no evil shall be allowed to befall you, no plague come near your tent. And when we look at Exodus, I'm not gonna on the last session, I'm not gonna make you guys all turn to these pages or whatever. We're not gonna read through all of them, but you guys can read them in your time. But in Exodus, we see the different plagues that came through the land of Egypt when God was wanting to release His people, release the Israelites, and to get them out of the grip of the Pharaoh. And in Exodus 8, we see God delineating those that were His people and those that weren't His people. Right? He delineates in Exodus 8, and He says, the land of Goshen shall not be touched. Right? The land of Goshen shall not be touched. There will be a protection over my people. And the same plagues, the same struggles, the same things that I'm going to bring over the land of Egypt shall not touch these people. Now we see that, and to the greatest extent, we see that in that last plague of the firstborn being taken, the firstborn dying, and even in the land of Egypt, even up to the cows, the animals, their firstborn also. I mean, I was thinking, man, that's intense, right? Like even up to the cows and I was gonna say the pigs, but they probably weren't any pigs. Like even up to the livestock, right? They were all gone. And the crazy thing is that if you were covered by the blood of the Lamb, right, on the doorpost, you were safe. Now, similarly, I believe this is what is going to happen again as we see the Lord's return. I don't know what you guys believe in terms of eschatology or your end times kind of stuff, but as we approach the return of Jesus, right? As we approach the return of Jesus, there's going to be a lot of things happening in our midst. Right? It says in Psalm 91, 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand. What that's basically saying is it's going to get from bad to worse, guys. It's going to start with 1,000 and then it's going to go to 10 times that, 10,000 at your right hand. But you're going to be okay. You're going to be safe. Right? You see, there's almost a picture here of what I believe is described in all. There's so many end times chapters in the Bible, but when we read these things and we actually understand what God is doing, there's an understanding that things are going to get a lot worse before they get any better, right? But if we are people that spend time in the secret place, guess what? We're not only going to just be safe, right? But we're going to know what God's plan is. John 15:15, famous verse, one to remember, one to claim. Right? When you're in your secret place, in your time with God, claim this, pray this over yourself. Say, God, you promised, so please reveal. It says in John 15:15, no longer do I call you servants, for the servant does not know what his master is doing, but I have called you friends. For all that I have heard from my Father, I have made known to you. Jesus doesn't lie. So if He says everything that He's heard from His Father, He's told us, it means that everything that He's heard from His Father, He's told us. Right? It means that He will tell us the depths, the secrets, the blueprints, the plan that He has for the world, that He has for you, if you would just be His friend, if you will come into that secret place with Him, if you will come and commune with Him, He will tell you secrets. He will tell you the secrets of what He is about to do and where He is about to take His church. But why is that important to us? Why is that important? Right? I think we look in Psalm 91 and we may think it's just for protection. Oh, yes, just so we can be protected. We can know where to hide. We can know the best, hiding spots and stuff. But I don't believe that's actually what it's about. It was really funny. There was a few weeks, probably a couple months ago now, I was speaking at a friend's church. And and I was driving in and I was late, right? So I was gonna speak and I was already late, and so I was just trying to find a parking spot. So I drove into their parking area. It's really tight, right? And I couldn't find a spot, so I was gonna reverse out. But it's like, it's one of those places where you gotta like kind of do like a million point turn, because it's just like a really small area. So, and there's no turning area. So I went in and I was like doing my back and forth. And I looked in my rear view mirror and I couldn't see any cars. So I was like, okay, come on, this is a good one. This must be like a little area that I can reverse into and then get out. So I reversed and I bang and hit somebody's car. And I was like, far out, right? Oh man, I hit someone's car. And so I was like, and the funniest thing was that there was, so if you gotta imagine this, right? So let's say this is the entrance to the parking lot. There's cars on either side, right? And then there's it ends here, so you can't go any further, right? And so I'd driven in and realized there's no parking spots, and I'm here. And so I'm doing my reverse, here. And as I was doing that, there were other cars that had come in, right? So they've seen all of it. They've seen everything. They've seen me hit this other car, right? And so I'm doing my reverse, and I'm trying to get out because I'm winding down my window. I'm like, I'm not running. I'm just parking around the corner. Right? I know I hit that car. I'm just parking around the corner. And I just felt, because these are all church people. Right? So I'm just feeling so awkward. Like, they probably don't even know I'm speaking that day, but they probably think this Asian kid just hit someone's car and he's running out now. And so I found a parking lot. I drove like as far away as I could from the place and parked way down the road. And then I came into the service and I was sitting right at the back, right? I was like, no, I'm going to sit right at the back. And when it came time to preach, I got up on stage, and I don't know if people were talking, but I just felt it, right? I could just feel whispers, like, that's the guy that hit the car, right? I could just feel it. I don't know if that's what they were saying. They probably even didn't know who I was, but I could feel all this guilt, right? And it wasn't like I was not gonna deal with that issue, right? So I got up on stage, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna call it out right now, right? So in my mind, so I was thinking. So I was like, okay, is there anybody here with, a white Volkswagen, your green P-plater? Is there anybody here with that? And literally this girl from the crowd runs up to the front. And she thinks she's receiving a prophecy. And I was like, oh man, this is so bad. This is so bad. I was like, okay, this is not a prophecy. I'm really sorry I hit your car, but we will talk about it after the service. So bless you. And then she went back and everyone was like laughing. And I was like, oh man, this is so awkward. What a way to start, right? But there's something about, and that story just is there to say, there's something about receiving words of prophecy, right? There's something about receiving a word from the Lord that He wants to speak to you that excites us. There's something about hearing His voice, knowing something that He's feeling about us, or knowing something He wants to speak into our future that excites us. Even everything that happened last night, my wife just speaking over this church and believing that it's going to be a place, a safe haven for other Arabic people to come in and to really feel the presence of God. I really believe things like that, we speak it into existence, right? We speak it into existence. But why? Why does God give us prophecy? Why does God give us these words? Why does God give us a revelation of His plan? In that secret place, why does God allow us to come in like a friend and to know His thoughts and to know His Father's thoughts and to know what is about to happen? Have you guys ever watched like a really, really good movie? Like, yeah, all right. A really, really good movie. Sam has, right? I actually really, sometimes I get really sad when I watch a really, really good movie. Right? Does anybody, you get sad when you watch a really, really good movie? Why do you get sad? Yes! Right? I get so sad when I watch a really, really good movie. Why? Because it ends and it's never going to be the same. I'm never going to have that feeling of watching that movie again and being surprised by everything that happens, being shocked by every moment, being awed by all the scenes, right? And it ends. But that's the same thing that I believe God does with us when He reveals His plan, right? Now, not in a way that we get sad because it's going to end, but in a way that we are not surprised at what's about to happen. We are not surprised. We're not taken by surprise by the next stage of his plan. We're not taken by surprise by the next thing that's about to happen. And we are allowed to go on that journey with him, knowing his heart, knowing what's about to happen. Not getting those, jump scares in the movie, because we know what's about to happen. When God reveals to us his plan, my son, the one thing that he actually really dislikes is if I don't tell him that I'm about to do something, right? And then just do it. He's actually a little boy, even though he's like 2 and a little bit, he thinks a lot about stuff. So sometimes we have to sit him down in the morning and tell him what the day is going to look like, right? Chanel has this little chart that she's already made with like all these magnets. And for parents out there, if your kids care about this kind of stuff, it's actually really useful. So she says, okay, you're going to wake up, you're going to play with your toys, then we're going to brush our teeth, then we're going to have some breakfast, and then we're going to go out, and so she has this chart that has already laid out all this stuff, because there are moments that we've kind of gone through the day, and then we say, oh, Zion, we're going to go out now. And he gets really upset and frustrated. He's like, no, I want to play toys. He doesn't say it like that, right? He's like, no, play toys, right? He doesn't have like the full sentence, but you can tell what he's trying to say. He's like, no, play toys. And we're like, no, Zion, right now it's time to go out. We're going to go out. We're going to see grandma. We're going to see grandpa. He's like, no, play toys. And so we've learned that when we list it out like that, he understands what's about to happen. And he then prepares himself for that, right? He's like, okay, the next thing that's going to happen is I'm going to brush my teeth. The next thing going to happen is we're going to go out. All these kind of things. Similarly with God, I believe the reason why he shows us his plan is so that we are not caught off guard, and that we can actually be in line with his heart. We can actually be in line with his process. I was talking to Auntie Gigi last night, and she was telling us a story again about the building that you guys have now, right? And the process that was, and the yes, the nodding, the struggle that came with that. But the thing that she and Uncle Terry really believed was that there was a specific place designated for them. There was a specific place designated for them. So when other options came, when other things were lined up that looked like they were okay, they were able to say no, because they understood and they had already been given the plan from the Lord, that there was something specific and it didn't sit right. There was no peace. And so they continued to pursue, what is it that you want from us, God? When God gives us his plan, it's not just so that we know a bit more. It's not just so that we can be safe or protected, but it's so we can actually work it out with him. I want to tell you guys a story from the Bible. It's about John the Baptist. Now, if you guys know the story of John the Baptist, he was a crazy man. And I believe that there are going to be more John the Baptist as we, as we approach the return of Jesus. There's going to be more people that rise up like John the Baptist, who are not afraid, who have given up living for this world, who are going to maybe not live in camel skins, but that there's going to be other things that they do that make them look crazy, right? But they're going to do it for the sake of the kingdom. And he was this man that was, you read his story, and he was filled with the Holy Spirit from when he was like a fetus, right? Or just in his mom's womb, he was already filled with the Holy Spirit. He was like jumping and leaping when he came close to Jesus. He already knew he was there. And his ministry was amazing. It exploded, right? A ministry in the desert, a ministry far away from people, but people would flock to the desert just to be baptized. But it was also a very short ministry, only a few years, right? A couple years, and then Jesus came, and his disciples went and followed Jesus. Right? Some of his disciples went and followed Jesus. And he actually said, yes, that's okay, because Jesus needs to increase and I need to decrease. Right? And so he was a man that said, yes, my purpose is preparing the way for Jesus. Right? I know what my purpose is. I know what the plan that he has for me is. But we read here in chapter 10 of Matthew, he's now in jail. And some of his disciples come and ask Jesus about what the plan is. And they say, when Jesus finished instructing, this is verse 1 of chapter 11. When Jesus had finished instructing his 12 disciples, he went on from there to teach and preach in their cities. Now, when John heard in prison about the deeds of Christ, so he heard in prison, so he knows what Jesus is already doing, right? He sent word by his disciples and said to him, are you the one who is to come, or shall we look for another? Right? He asked Jesus. Oh, thanks, bro. man, all that screaming, like Tribe of Judah and stuff, really gets to me. So he asked his disciples, after hearing what Jesus had been doing, to go and ask him, are you the one to come, or shall we look for another? And Jesus answered them, that's John's disciples. Go tell John what you hear and see. The blind receive their sight, the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, and the deaf hear. And the dead are raised up, and the poor have good news preached to them. And blessed is the one who is not offended by me. As they went away, Jesus began to speak to the crowds concerning John. And he then goes on, after these disciples leave, he then goes on to really talk John up and say, this guy, he was amazing. He was so blessed. There's no one like him, right? On the face of the earth, there's no one like this guy, right? He's like a special person. But he says that after these disciples leave, right? But the question that John asks is revealing. And the way that Jesus answered is even more revealing. You see, John asked this question, Jesus, are you the one that we have been waiting for? The one that I was proclaiming in the desert? Are you the one that I was speaking about? I was, saying that he's the one that's going to baptize you better than me and, going to baptize you in a different kind of way. Are you that one? Right? Because I hear the stories and you're healing and all this kind of stuff. But you see, for John, the struggle, I believe, this is how I read it, right? Maybe some people read it a little bit differently. I read it that he was struggling because he was in prison. Right? He was struggling because he's in prison, and I guess he thought maybe he would, just be more involved in what was going on. Right? He would have more of a stake in what was happening with Jesus and, with the disciples, with the crazy miracles and stuff. But he's stuck in jail. Now Jesus responds not by saying, yes, John, I am the one, and he just responds by telling his disciples, go back and tell him exactly what I've been doing, all the stuff that he already knows. Right? He already knows the answer to that question, is basically what Jesus is saying. He already knows that I am that. He already knows because he proclaimed me. He's heard about me. The Father told him about me from the beginning. Right? He already knows who I am. He's been proclaiming that. The only thing he's struggling with right now is offense. Right? Blessed is the one who is not offended on account of me. Blessed is the one who is not offended on account of me. That's a tough word to bring back, right? Imagine the disciples going back and bringing that back to John. Jesus said, don't be offended, right? I know you're in jail. I'm really sorry, bud, but Jesus said, don't be. Man, that's hard, right? But that's what Jesus said. You see, one of the things that I believe is key when we think about why God actually tells us his plan is because he knows our heart. Prophecy isn't given to us just to excite us about what is in our future. Prophecy isn't given to us. Words that the Lord speaks to us even through the Bible. All these things that we receive even through reading his word and knowing what is about to happen isn't there just so that we can be like, oh yeah, cool, that's a cool story. Is there because the Lord knows how hard it will be. How hard it will be to stay faithful to him, stay faithful to the plan in the moment when it is difficult, right? Prophecy isn't given to us because we're going to live easy lives. Prophecy is usually given to those who are going to struggle with it the most, right? If we tell you guys, yeah, you guys are going to become an amazing, big, whatever church, whatever it is, the moment you're going to need that word the most is when you don't see it. The moment you're going to need that word the most is when people are not rocking up to church on time, or you're feeling like really discouraged about stuff. And you got to come back to that word and say, God, you promised, you said this, right? I'm holding on to that word that you gave. That's when we need prophecy the most. You see, similarly for John, I think he needed to take a step back and remember everything that he had actually proclaimed. Not need to hear a new thing, remember the old thing that he proclaimed, because this was his moment of trial. This was his moment of struggle. For us, I believe it's the same deal. Matthew 24, Jesus is giving his little chapter, one of his chapters on his second coming. And it says in Matthew 24, verse 9 to 14, then they will deliver you up to tribulation and put you to death, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many will fall away and betray one another and hate one another, and many false prophets will arise and lead many astray. And because lawlessness will increase, the love of many will grow cold. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. You know, I believe that the main reason why God gives us that foreknowledge, or why He's given us just all these prophetic scriptures, or even words from other people, encouragements from other people, is because He knows that it's going to be difficult for us to believe that He is there in those moments of greatest trial. These times of secret place, these moments where we have the freedom to be a Christian and to dwell with the Lord and to really go deep with Him, these are going to be the moments that sustain us when things go crazy, right? These moments that we've heard the Lord and we can come back to that promise and say, God, you revealed that to me. Why did you say that? And I've got to believe that now, right? I don't see it, I don't understand it, but I'm going to believe what you've spoken to me, because that is the reason why you said it. You didn't say it for me in that moment to just be happy and be like, yes, I'm the best. You know, even for you boys, the words that God spoke to you just then aren't for you to be like, yes, you know, I'm a David, I'm going to take down Goliath or whatever. It's because there will be moments where that will be challenged. There will be moments where we won't believe it for our life anymore, where we've given up on that dream, we've given up on that plan, where we've buried it deep. We're like, God, you spoke that, but I don't even believe it anymore. I'm just going to try and live a normal life and get by. And God's like, no, I called you to so much more, right? Don't forget it. You know, it says in Psalm 91, in verse 8, you will only look with your eyes and see the recompense of the wicked. You will only look with your eyes and see the recompense of the wicked. Right? I believe this verse is actually saying much more than we think it's saying. I believe it's saying that when we see 1,000 people fall and 10,000 at our right hand, right? When we see that happen, we are not going to only be like, phew, I'm safe. But we are actually going to say, that is the mercy of God. That is the justice of God. We're actually going to agree with it. Can you imagine that? That's going to be difficult, guys, right? In Revelation, it tells us that the fourth seal is going to wipe out a fourth of the world, and then the sixth trumpet is going to wipe out a third of the world. So half of the world's population, according to the Bible, if you believe that, and that's your view on eschatology, half of the world is going to be wiped out. Half of the world. Can you imagine that? Right? Can you imagine that? What are we going to do in that moment? What are we going to say in that moment when people say, this is your God? Right? Because we can't just say, oh yeah, no, that was an accident. No, we know that was Him. Right? People are going to say, that was your God. And we're going to say, yes, that is His justice. That is His Whew, man, even saying that from here, that's hard. Right? Imagine having to say that in the moment and saying, God, I agree with your plan. I agree with your plan. Why does He tell us in advance? Because He wants us to agree with His plan. Not just feel like, oh, I'm safe, and that's good. But He actually wants us to declare, this is the recompense of the wicked. Right? I agree with you, God. That's going to be the hard part for us. That's what I believe. Right? Yes, I love the protection that is offered. I love the relationship that is offered. But the revelation that God gives us is to protect something greater, and that's our heart. Right? It's to protect our heart from growing cold. It's to protect our heart from being offended. One of the greatest reasons I believe that people are going to fall away from the Lord as we approach His return is because we're offended at His plan. We're offended at His plan. We didn't know it. We didn't study it. So when it comes, we're going to be like, wow, this is not what I expected, right? I just expected a really kind, loving, baby Jesus. I did not expect a warrior king. I did not expect someone to come with a sword in his mouth, going to come and, wipe out all the kings of the earth. I did not expect that Jesus, right? But it's here. The plan is here, guys. And we are a generation that I believe might see that happen, right? I mean, we might see it happen. I believe like I keep saying, we're the closest, right? So it could be us. right? But what if he came? Would we recognize him? Would we recognize him? You know, I think it's not enough for us to just say, yeah, God, look, I just want to be safe and I just want to make it through. Because the reality of what God desires from us is that we would do it with him. That's what he desires, right? You know, my little boy, he's, man, I do know. I was going to say, I don't know where he gets it from, but probably from his mom, right? I don't know where he's just a really smart kid. And I'm like, I wasn't that smart, you know. I wasn't that you know, and Chris is laughing because he knows, right? But I wasn't that smart at school or anything, right? But he's so clever. He loves puzzles. He loves puzzles. You know, at his age, they're meant to be doing like, you know, 9-piece, 12-piece. He's doing like 30+ piece puzzles, right? So he's like putting puzzles together and stuff. And I'm literally looking there. I'm like, oh, how can I make money off this? You know, like how can I leverage this? Right, son, like we're a team, you know. Let's do this together, right? But I look at him and so we've been you know, buying him bigger and bigger puzzles, and he's getting to a stage now where they're a bit too big, so he kind of doesn't know what he's doing anymore. But I try to teach him. So what I do is we're looking at a puzzle, and even for me they're quite difficult. But we're looking at this puzzle, and I'll usually put the pieces that are probably going to be next, like kind of in front of him. And then he looks around, he finds it, oh, and he puts a piece in, and then I put like another piece around, just kind of close by to his hand, so that I'm like, what about look in this area? There's probably a piece in this area. You can, oh, and then he puts it together, and and once he's done with this puzzle, the thing that he usually says, he calls himself Baba, right? So, because I call him Baba, right? His name's Zion, but we call him Baba. And he says, Baba do, right? Baba do, like just saying like, I did it, right? And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I helped you though. You know, like I was a big part of why you were able to finish this puzzle. But you go ahead and celebrate. But a lot of the time, I feel God is the same with us. You know, for us to try and do this thing ourselves would leave us very frustrated, would leave us very disheartened. We would probably give up, right? But if God just did it all himself, without us, then what's the point of actual the relationship that we're supposed to build? We would just be like, yeah, okay, cool, you're really good, right? But I'm not very excited about this walk. The thing that God loves to do with us is he loves to take us on that journey. He loves to include us in what he's doing. But the reality of including us in what he's doing is that we have to agree with his plan. We have to agree with his plan. The reason why God, even in, I believe in Psalm 91, it talks about, in this last part of the passage, where it talks, what I believe is more prophetic and talking about what is to come, is not just to tell you that you're going to be safe, but it's telling you you're going to be safe so that you can stop worrying about that and now turn your focus into what God is doing. Say, okay, I'm going to agree with what you're doing, right? We know that you know, if you read in Revelations, that our prayers are going to be what fills the bowls that are going to be released on the Antichrist's kingdom. Right? We are going to agree with God. We're going to pray into the destruction of what the Antichrist is putting up. So all that kind of stuff. And sorry if you guys don't really talk about end time stuff in church. But I really love it, right? The reason why I love it is because, guys, if we are that generation that's going to see Jesus return, right? There's so much about what we should be caring about and who we are that we cannot miss it. We cannot bear to miss it, right? You know, if we get to heaven one day and we go, Jesus, I didn't really know that it was going to happen like that, we're not going to have an excuse. He's going to be like, it's been written in the Bible for how many years, for how many, you know, millennia. It's like it's been in the scriptures, right? Even when it was in scroll form, it was already there. There was some stuff that was already there. How did you miss it, right? You know, there are other generations before us that, you know, they know that they are somewhere within the death of Jesus and the return of Jesus. They don't really know exactly where. But if we are actually that generation that's going to see him return, then we have a lot of passages to go off and to know how to prepare for what is coming. But the reason why we prepare for what is coming is not just so that we're protected, not just so that we, you know, in a sense can make it through or you know, whatever your eschatology says, but it is so that we can actually partner with God in his plan and his purpose. You know, I don't want to share for too much longer today because I think there, for us, there's a lot to munch on, there's a lot to chew, there's a lot to digest even as we leave this place. But I do want to say something very, very specific about not missing God's plan. Not missing God's plan. You know, if you think about it, if you have the mindset of a servant, right, that God isn't doing stuff with you and He's just making you do things. If my son had the mindset that I'm just, like one of those real Asian, like tiger moms, right? It's just like kind of preparing their kids early to become doctors or whatever. Doing puzzles won't be fun. If he actually knew the heart behind why I'm asking him to do puzzles and like I want to make some money off him, he probably wouldn't think that it's fun, right? But he doesn't know that. That's a secret between us, right? He doesn't know that. He thinks he's having a lot of fun. If we have the mindset of a servant, thinking that Jesus is just telling us to do stuff, right? To go into the harvest and to go and, harvest the wheat, go into the fields to, get the harvest, go and save souls, and that's my thing for you to do. We will not understand His real heart for us. But the reality of what Jesus and what God is calling us to, He's already in the harvest. He's calling us to join Him. He's calling us to partake, to enjoy in the blessing. Right? He wants us to not just do things for Him. He wants us to join Him in doing things, because in that place, we not only form stronger relationship with Him, we're not only more secure and protected, but we also then have an understanding of what His plans are, and our hearts are then secure. Right? We won't get offended if we, like what happened like last time we were talking about the older sibling, right? The older brother in the parable of the prodigal son. That older sibling was offended at his father because he didn't understand his father's heart. I don't know about you guys, we used to go on road trips a lot, and I actually disliked road trips so much with my family, because you sit in the car and you're sitting in the back and you're bothering your brother. I've got a younger brother, and I used to just annoy him to no end. And our parents are just at the front saying, "Be quiet, just sleep, we're gonna get there soon," all this kind of stuff, and it's like a madhouse. And then when you finally get out, right, and you like run around, you're like, yes, freedom, and you're like running around, even if it's just a petrol station to go to the toilet, and then you come back in, you're like, back in the car, and you're driving a bit longer. It's like, I hate being poor, I want to fly, right? All these kind of things. We're not poor, I'm just kidding, but you just, in your mind as a kid, you're like, why can't we fly? Why do I have to be here? I would prefer to have like a little game in the back, right? So this is before you even had we had Game Boys, but even with Game Boys, my mom wouldn't let me play with the Game Boy, right? So we just had to sit and look out the window. My mom was like, enjoy the scenery, right? Has anybody ever said that to you, right? My mom's always like, be quiet, just enjoy the scenery. And I was like, what scenery, Anyway, so we're just driving, and we get to our destination, and usually we get to our destination, we just have our fun, do our thing. But the reality of a road trip is that I believe the most memorable parts are those car rides, right? The things that we remember the most, the things that we will take into our future, the things that we grew up even in that car, mucking around with our brothers or sisters or siblings or whatever. Those are the things that actually build that relationship between family. Right, being at the, unless you go to a place where you're all doing the same thing, but being, at vacation, usually we go to someone's house, I'm there playing with the kids, and my parents upstairs sing karaoke with their friends or whatever, right? And we're all doing separate things. The only time that we really have that connection together is in that car. And I believe it's very similar with us and God. The reward that we have, even in this life, the reward that Jesus won for us on the cross, it wasn't heaven. That's just a byproduct. That's just like a bonus. We get heaven too, right? But the reality of what He won for us on the cross was that relationship we have with God. That reconnection that we have with Father. That love that we are now able to show to Him. And the reality of that is that we get to have that even right now. We get to have that even right now in our secret places. The journey is our reward, not the destination. The journey is our reward. Guys, you have to understand this point. I'll share with you guys one more story. I still have a little bit of time. I'll share with you guys one more story. Sorry, I know I said I was going to finish. But it's of, I won't read you the passage. But it was about the workers that went into the field. If you guys know this parable. And it goes, and I'm hopefully getting it right. Hopefully I'm not blaspheming, but there was this, I'll make up my own story actually. You know what? I'll just make up my own story. Right? Just so that if it isn't in the Bible, it was my story, right? But it's basically based on the Bible story. But there was this farmer, right? That he owned a farm, really big farm, and he needed workers to come into his field to work. And so he went out into the marketplace where he could hire some people that would just kind of sit around doing nothing. He said, "Hey guys, you guys want to make some money? Look, I'm gonna give you a full day's wage if you come and work for me in the farm." Right? And so they're like, "Yeah, that's fair, like a full day's wage." They came, they did some work in the farm. He went out a little bit later, again, because he needed more people, and he found a group of people and said, "Hey guys, if you come to my farm, I'll pay you at the end." And they're like, "Yeah, cool, I'll come." And he went out throughout the day, even up to the last hour of work. So it was like one more hour left of work. He came out again. He said, "Hey, is anybody still here that would like to work on my farm? I still got a lot of stuff to do." And a couple people said, "Yeah, cool, I'm keen to come and work." And so they came in. Now when it came time after work, he lined up everybody and he was going to pay them. He lined everybody up. And he started to pay them from the last people that he hired. So from the people that worked only 1 hour, he started to pay them first. And he paid these guys a full day's wage. Right? He paid them a full day's wage. And he went to the next person and he paid them a full day's wage. And the people right at the start were thinking, "Oh man, if they're getting paid a full day's wage for 1 hour of work, imagine what we are going to get paid. We are going to get paid so much, man. I'm not going to have to work for the next week. This is great," right? And so this farmer comes up and then he gets to the front of the line and they're like waiting. They're like, "Okay, what are we getting? What are we getting?" And he gives them a full day's wage. And they're like, "What? Dude, you gave that guy a full day's wage for 1 hour of work and you're giving me a full day's wage for a full day of work, right? That's not fair." And the farmer's like, "What do you mean? Isn't that what we agreed to, right? We agreed to a full day's wage. I can give a full day's wage to a guy that worked 1 hour, but it's still fair to give you a full day's wage too." Right? Now the reality of this story is that if we believe that the reward is our wage, that the reward is what we receive as in terms of, like whatever, provision, money, all these kind of things, then we've actually missed the point. I don't know about any of you guys, but I've always thought when I was younger anyways, I've always thought, you know what, God, like what if I just give you my life right before I die? Like I'm sure we've all thought about that, right? I'm not the only unholy one in this room, right? I'm sure we've all thought of that. God, I'm just going to live my life, and then just before I die, right before I get hit by that truck, I'm going to be like, "Jesus!" and that's it, right? And then I'll go to heaven. I'll be like, "I got around this, you see? There was a loophole, and I found it," right? And I remember thinking that, now if the reality was that heaven was our reward, then that would have been maybe a smart loophole. But what really is our reward is the journey. You see, the guys that were working in the field with the farmer, they thought that the reward is the payment, when the reward was actually working in the field with the farmer. And I know that's a little bit different, like I don't know who this farmer is, right? But if we think about our Father in heaven, and He's the farmer, and He's the one calling us to work in the field, the reality is that our reward is being with Him, working in the field and agreeing with His plan. The reason why God reveals things to us in that secret place, the reason why He draws us in and He commands us and He sends us out, is because that is our reward, guys. That secret place, being with Him, a life with Jesus, a life in connection with the Spirit, that is our real reward, not heaven. That's a bonus, and I'm going to love it, and it's going to be great. But I want to get to heaven and already be so intimate with God, such good friends with God, that we're able to continue on our relationship. It doesn't start from heaven, it starts from now. The reality for some of you guys in this room that are really young, right? I believe God has called you guys to live a life for Him from your youth. Not from when you hit my age, not from when you kind of have kids or you've kind of made some money and now you're kind of settled and now you can start living for Him. He wants your life from now, because these are your best years, right? Give God your best years. I want to just finish this conference or this camp again by reminding us the importance of the secret place. But the secret place is not about feeling protected. It's not about just being safe or whatever. It actually is about starting to learn to commune with God so we can work with Him for His purposes of the kingdom, so that we can enjoy the gift, the precious blessing that He's already given us. Guys, this is our reward. Don't miss out on your reward. The secret place is not just a place that you come for when you need refuge or when you need help. The secret place is not just something that we run to every now and then. The secret place is your reward. It is everything. It is what we're living this life for. We're living this life to be deeper in love and deeper in connection with God. And when we grasp that, you won't need conferences to tell you to run to your secret place. You will love being there. You won't need people to come and say, hey guys, the secret place is good. You know, these are the benefits. You will love it there because you understand that is actually the reward. That is actually the goal. Right? So let us just pray. And I just want to commit you guys and commit the rest of the camp, and also as you guys leave the camp, just commit all this time to the Lord. You know, I believe He's dropped in your hearts many things already, things that He's going to continue to unpack and unravel through the coming weeks. But guys, these things happen, this unpacking happens in that secret place as we continue to spend time with Him. We continue to learn to listen to His voice. And so Jesus, I just want to thank you, Father, for what you have done and what you're still doing throughout this camp, Father, and into, Lord, just our normal everyday lives. Father, I thank you that you've spoken clearly, that you've dropped words of prophecy, that you've given people words, even in that place of sitting in those chairs or in their rooms or in the conversations they've had with other people. Father, I pray that we would not forget these things, God, that you would seal them on our mind and on our heart. Lord, I pray that we would hold on to the truth and the promise, Father, that we find in your word, that we found so deeply in even this one psalm. God, when we need it the most, Father, I pray that we would run to you, that we would not be afraid of you or think we have to work it out ourselves. Father, I pray, Lord, that we would be people that know that you are a good Father, that come to you and that agree with your plan. Father, I pray for every person in this room, Lord, that you would protect us, God, from falling into offense, that you would protect us, Father, from our love growing cold. God, I pray that we would burn brightly with love in this place, that these will be a people, God, that continue to love you until you return. Father, not just for a season, not just for 2 seasons, not just for a little while, God, but until you return, Father, I pray that our light will continue to shine brighter and brighter and brighter. God, so we just want to bless you, Father, for this time that we've had even to be together. God, as we go into our separate days, into our separate lives, Father, I pray that we would not forget about you, that we would not lose that fire and that love. Father, may we continue to bear that. May we continue to bring that everywhere that we go. May that secret place with you become some place that we take with us everywhere we go, God. May it become contagious to others around us, Lord. May they see the peace that we have, the love that we feel, the joy that we exude. Father, I pray that that will be something that changes, Father, the circles that we have influence in. And so we just want to bless you, Father. I pray a blessing over every person in this room, and I pray that you continue to take us from glory to glory, that you continue to take us deeper and deeper with you, Jesus. That's what we want. That is our prize. That is our goal. That is our reward. And we thank you for winning that on the cross for us. In Jesus' name we